Hello Smart Movers and welcome to Smart Move Insider, a place where we talk about fitness from within. My name is Sergio alongside head coach Bart, and today we're going to talk about our team of coaches. To paint a big picture, we have 2 locations and a team of 14 coaches. Me and Bart are not included here. Expect to hear how we open the gym and with who, where do we find our passionate coaches, how do we prepare them, what are the traits of an effective coach, and many more. So without further ado, if I would go back in time, in August 2016, what do I find when I entered your gym?
Or me or you were there, because we started this thing outside, we took it inside, and we did all the fundamentals, we did all the classes. So you would only find me or you. What did we do back then? One day I did the morning and the 5, and then the next day I would do the later classes. Then we would switch, something like that, no?
Yes, what I think of is if you would have come into our box in 2016, you would have found one of us coaching, one of us training.
Yeah,
We
true.
were both in the same time
always
over there.
Yeah, true. But it's also because that was the only time to coach, to train. If you weren't coaching, then you had time to train. So that's what we did, because the most frustrating for a coach is to coach all the classes and not have time to train yourself, and everybody around you is getting fitter, but you don't have time. So we made sure from the beginning to make time to train next to our full-time job, because the gym was just the thing on the side.
Exactly, that's the road to burnout for a coach, for a business owner, a gym owner. If you don't have time to do what you love, you can have it, but you don't want it anymore. So you will go very fast at the burnout. And yeah, we had all the classes. I think one day you were all the classes, and one day I was all the classes. But the classes were a little less than now. We had 7 o'clock, and then we had evening classes from 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, and 9, 10.
Yeah,
4 hours in the evening.
Exactly. We still had 9 and 10 all the way in the beginning. And then over the years, people didn't want to train from 9 to 10 anymore.
Exactly. And we played. After we did this for a while, I think we switched, and you were having the morning and I was having the evening classes. And then I'm going to have the morning and you're going to have the evening classes. And so on. I think we went for a really long time.
At least a year, maybe a little bit longer.
How was that period for you? Do you remember?
Fresh like a daisy. No, it was tiring, but it was like, I think we put our mind to it that, okay, it's a new business and it's supposed to be hard, although we could have made it easier, much faster on ourselves. But you're still in a build-up. You don't really have too much budget to actually have extra coaches, so you do everything yourself in the beginning. But it was tiring.
Yeah, I remember we put all our savings into opening this gym, and then we needed to make it work. So we were both having 2 jobs, like you have the day job and then you have the evening, the gym job. And I know that went pretty long. Like I think I quit my day job in like 2019, close to. So that's 3 or 4 years later. Yeah, we need to make it work, and we tried to.
Yeah, and then a year and a bit later, we decided to hire our first coaches, right?
Yeah, what do you think we needed to wait 1 year? What was the philosophy behind it?
Don't think we thought too much about it. We just didn't want to spend the extra money, because the gym wasn't going to the point we would have liked before thinking of making costs. But thinking now, should have just hired them much faster.
I think we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, for example.
I liked doing classes, of course.
It was really awesome having the place to do it and apply everything that we learned in CrossFit Level 1, CrossFit Level 2. And it was pretty nice at the start. But then when you started a bit to do the admin part also, to take really good care of the reception part, the financial part, it started to become a bit overwhelming. And then I remember it was a time that we really thought of, okay, how do we find people and make them mini copies of us and bring the same enthusiasm, the same feeling, and continue the same culture as we build it.
Yeah, it's a bit hard. You don't want hand over your baby too fast. You want to keep everything in your control. You want to do the classes how you envision them to be done. And of course, if somebody else will do it, doesn't mean it will be done bad, but it's always a little bit more in the style of that person doing it. So you don't have full control anymore, and you will always have things that you think, I would have done that different. And it's a bit hard in the beginning to let go of the control. And I think we learned over the years that you need to let other people help you, and it doesn't exactly need to be done how you would do it. Of course, there is a vision that we want to be followed, but 85% of how I would do it, it's still good.
Yeah, exactly. So when you open a business, you are so enthusiastic, so excited to finally do what you wish, and you're so grateful that you are here and there. But these things dries up very fast. So time passes, and then you're still doing everything by yourself. And if you don't have a business partner, we all know that takes a big toll on you. So for example, we were lucky of having each other because we were in the same involvement in the thing.
Yeah.
But I just can't imagine being just myself doing everything.
And also
For a
having to
while.
take every decision.
Exactly.
And
That's
not having somebody to bounce ideas of, or the advantage if you're with two is that if one has a bad day, the other one can pick up a bit and feel a bit the energy and say, okay, it's just a bad day, I will just handle it. But if you're alone, you have to do everything. You ran the manager and you need to do reception and you need to do all the classes. Somebody that would start this alone, I would directly tell them, hire a coach. Day one, hire a coach next to you. You can still make the decision, but you need help because otherwise you're going to get overwhelmed real fast.
Yeah, I think we were lucky at this chapter because we got along and we had somebody to talk to. Because if you have just yourself and your employees, they are not the person for you to ventilate, to get things out, because they're not at the same level, and you cannot be so vulnerable with them because they will feel the boat is shaking. So you want to be still a bit, creating a bit of a space between your feelings and the crew. Yeah. So if thinking back, I think one of the reasons that we needed such a long time hiring the first people was that we didn't know how to. We didn't know how to prepare them for what we were doing. We were thinking that this is good until we do it. So that was the trap we fell in for a long time.
And we still didn't really, if you're now looking back, we didn't really onboard them very well,
No.
the first ones. I don't even remember what we did with them.
It was on the fly.
I honestly, I don't remember when we hired the first two what we did with them. Did they shadow us for a while and then we just gave them their own classes? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a bit foggy, but I think that the first one who we hired was our girlfriends back then,
Yeah.
Gia, Lore, and Claudia.
Claudia was on the third, yeah.
Yeah. So our main thing was they do this for such a long period that they know how to do it. I don't think we had an onboarding process like us teaching them something or observing them into a class or whatever we do now.
Yeah, basically we're like, you've seen so many classes how I do them, just copy it, right?
Just do it. Yes,
It's
this
easy.
is how we learned.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's not so easy, by the way.
No, it's not.
Anybody, I'll just drop you in a class and you're going to be overwhelmed.
And it was a road full of mistakes and full of dramas because you were trying to make it better, so you need a lot of feedback. And 10 years ago, feedbacking was not like now. Feedbacking was more rougher than now. I didn't have so much qualities of giving a feedback back then. I didn't thought about so much, you know.
You didn't give them the structure, like this is what I expect from you, this is how I want things to be done. We were assuming a lot, but we learned out of our mistakes from, of course, the rough feedbacks and then seeing the result of it, and we came up with a system to get the onboarding process more smooth and not just throwing them in the deep.
Yeah, so I just think the people were very resilient back then. They liked the sport so much that they were accepting our a very amateuristic way of teaching them how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you do need to be learned how to coach. Because a lot of people, especially from the outside, it looks easy from the outside. But there's a lot of things, we go more in detail later on. There are a lot of things that we think about when we're doing a class. It's not so easy, it needs practice.
So coaching all the classes is not the way to go. Just you having everything and taking care of all the classes is not a good idea because you burn out very fast.
Remember, we were also doing the cleaning back then.
Yeah, I
Every
forgot
day
about
the
it.
cleaning on top of everything
End of
else.
the day, yeah, end of the day we were cleaning and it was painful. But that we delegated that very fast.
That was the first thing we delegated,
right?
and what we should have delegated some of the coaching also faster. But yeah, trying to do everything definitely on your road to a burnout, because just imagine that you just did an 8-hour job, you come out at 5, and then by the time you're out of the gym, because if the last class is from 9 till 10, by the time you're out, we're at close to 11. Huh?
And all this time you need to have a happy face, a good energy for the clients. You cannot show tiredness, you cannot show that you are irritated. You're there to make their best out of the day.
Yeah.
So there's no room for feeling tired.
No, but it was just like a 14 to 16 hour day, and the day after we start again.
And then we were going home and we were like devastated.
Yeah, just sleep and then go back to the day job, then come back to the gym.
Yeah, I remember.
It's weird that we lasted for more than a year doing that, like that, at that tempo.
Yeah, so if you could have gone back in time now, the first thing you should do for 6 months, hire a coach.
Yeah.
At least one.
Yeah. Onboard one, teach
So
them
we'd get
the
the
ropes.
pressure off.
Yeah. So you can have also some days off in the week where you don't coach.
Okay, so this says a lot. So one of the first things I hear when I talk to people when they come into the gym for a week or they're very fresh is the energy here is really good. The coaches are really nice and patient, explaining everything in details. So our coaches are the frontliners and they're professional. How and where do we find these people?
We look for the people mainly in our own community, because we want people to know our way of doing it, because if you're going to visit other CrossFit gyms, you're going to see that everybody has a little bit their own style, and so we build a certain culture on how we like things to be done, and we want it to be done in the same way. So if somebody's been training here for a while, they kind of know a little bit by being in class what the general idea is, where we put importance on, and the people within the community then also know that person. So if that person becomes a coach, the transition is easier, because they're already part of a group of like-minded people, instead of, let's say, call it an outsider coming in and say, okay, from now on this is your new coach. No, the people already know the guy or the girl was used to train next to them. But then, of course, they have a general idea of how we do it and why we do it, but then we go into detail, because what you see in class is just a part of it. All the things on the sidelines you do not know, and they need to be taught. How are we doing it? Why are we doing it the way we're doing it? So
we find the people inside our gym. They are products of our own brand, Marmouth CrossFit.
Yeah.
Because they see a lot of what we're doing. They try a lot of what we're doing from the stance of a client, and then if they want to go further, we have a process now that they're going to follow, and they're going to enter and become a coach.
I think also one of the main reasons why we search coaches within our community is that if I find somebody within the community, I start to know him as a person. I see him a bit, how he is with other people. I see how they're interacting in team workouts with other people. I see how they train for themselves, how high they put their standards for their own. Do they put importance of moving well? Are they willing to learn? Are they very coachable? So it says a lot. Over a course of 3 to 6 months, I can really know a little bit what type of person do I have in front of me in comparison to if somebody comes into an interview. Everybody can be good in interviews. I don't really know them as a person. I don't know how likable they are within the community. Anybody that has certain characteristics that I think are important from person-to-person level, anybody like that, I can make him a good coach. But if you're a little bit of a dick, I can make you a coach, but there are things that I'm missing that I think are important. I cannot change you as a person. That being a good guy, having empathy, showing interest, being able to take feedback, that comes from you. That happened in the last 25 years. I can teach you how to be a coach, but I need to have what I consider from personal values, a good person in front of me that I want to work with. And that I can see by just observing them into class and the daily interactions.
Let's dig more into that. What would you say are the top traits for a member to become a coach? What do you look for so they are in your chart of fit people for becoming a coach?
I think one of the first things would be have empathy and care for people, care for CrossFit as a sport, but mainly the care for people around you. You can feel that with people if they're more of an individualistic type of person, or if they do well in team workouts and they're open with other people and they're cheering for other people. Like, that's the type of person I'm looking for, not the individualistic guy that sits in the corner and doesn't really care about what's going on in the room. That would be one of the things.
So you can teach somebody how to coach, but you cannot teach them how to care.
No, that's something
That's
personal.
really important.
Yeah. Have a willingness to just evolve as an athlete.
So the success story,
What do you mean?
their path in the gym.
Yeah, that could be
inspiring
somebody with a
stories.
success story, started at a certain point and evolved, and it doesn't mean he needs to be first on the leaderboard, just the guy that is really interested in progressing and
An
is
evolution.
interested in trying stuff, and I give him tips and he's trying to do something with it, and he's interested in the why behind why we do certain moves and why they're supposed to be done in a certain way. And I just see him show interest in just improving himself as an athlete to move better and show importance to that. Because if you don't think it's important for yourself, how are you gonna teach other people to care about that if it's not important for you?
Yeah, exactly. So caring, and then the evolution,
some passion for
development,
evolving.
passion.
Yeah.
You said something about standards. For me, it's something that I look for.
Like integrity.
Yeah,
that
integrity.
Integrity. Yeah.
We all know that if you're a rep shaver, for people that don't know what a rep shaver is, when you don't count your reps as you're supposed to.
You're supposed to do 21 reps and you stop at 19 and you act like you did 21.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how honest you are with yourself, this is a very important trait for me. Like, if I see you all the time doing your best and keeping yourself accountable, for me that's a really important one.
Yeah, it is important because I believe that CrossFit is an exercise in integrity every day, not cutting corners. So I believe that if you cut in corners in something so futile like a fucking workout, like it doesn't mean shit in the big scheme of things. If you think it's important enough to cut a corner in such a little thing, I'm guessing you're going to be cutting corners in your daily life shit as well, and I don't know if I want to work with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, being a people person in general, like, doesn't mean that we didn't hire introverts, because in essence I'm introverted by myself also, but just, yeah, it maybe comes back to that caring. But yeah, you need to be wanting to stand in front of that group and to see if I think that you would be able to handle that. This is a bit of a guess, because we have had people that I think this one is going to be fine, and then they close up a little bit in the first weeks of our onboarding process when they just have to speak in front of the group, although it's a group of people they already know. So, but it passes in our onboarding. But yeah, you gamble it a little bit. How is this person with people in general?
Yeah.
I don't know, what else do you think it could be on that list?
I think we kind of hit them all.
It's a bit of an intuition thing, no? To feel a little bit if somebody would be, because we put people to an onboarding process doesn't mean they're going to end up eventually being a coach. It's just like, I think because of the things I saw that they might be a good fit from the point of view of personality, passion for the sport, integrity, and then we'll have to see if they also like it when we onboard them.
Assess talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, how do we do it now? If we were thinking of hiring a coach, we are just talking among ourselves, making a list of people, and then we talk with our senior coaches, and we talk with them, and then see if they see the same traits as us, because we all have a bit more affection for some people, so we want to see if that's a general thing or not.
Yeah.
So we are bouncing ideas
Because
between
it's a bit of a
us.
subjective.
Exactly.
It's a feeling thing, yeah.
Exactly, and sometimes that's really, really healthy, and the other persons might bring you up some flaws that you were not aware of, and it's very useful, because you don't want to start a process like this and then investing time and energy and then failing. It's very, very important.
Yeah, and don't, for those listening, don't think that the opportunity is only there by invitation. Like, these guys are making a list who they think is suitable. If I'm not on that list, a big thing is also show interest.
Yeah.
So you can step up and say, if there would be a place available as a part-timer for a couple of hours a week, I would be interested. And then, like the Lord of the Rings, the eye of Sauron will be on you, because now you showed interest, and maybe I'm going to start paying extra attention on you, how you are in class. Like I explained, how are you handling within the community, how are you carrying yourself there, how are you doing the workouts, how much importance do you put on moving well, because it's one of our standards. We want people to move well and care about moving well.
Yeah.
So it helps. You need to, if you have interest, you need to tell us.
That is a smaller pool of people.
Yeah.
People that raise their hand and say, I want in, I want to try this out. Because it's hard. Being invited is a different thing. It's coming from us, it's the authority figure coming to invite you to try this out. It's a bit different. I have a lot of respect for people that raise their hand.
Yeah, definitely. It's the harder way.
Yeah. So basically we find our coaches, our staff, we find them into the community. We search for them. We search for success stories. We search for people that stand out, people that don't leave the gym easily. They stand and hang around and try to be a part as much as possible in all the events we organize. And there are people that are just raising the hand after 2-3 months. They say, I like this. I would like to try it as a coach. I think I will learn more if I'm going to be on the other part of the table and I'm going to teach how to teach. And then we have the third part is the people from outside. This is the most difficult the most difficult crowd, because we don't know them at all. So what do we do here is if you would like to join our gym and you're, for example, from another box, from another CrossFit or non-affiliate box, and you want to try and take part of in our team, we're going to invite you for a training. We want to see and meet you and talk to you a bit. So we're going to train together, we're going to grab a coffee, and then you're going to meet some of us from the staff, and then we're going to get together and talk a bit more.
And probably ask you to start training in our community for a couple of months, because this is going to be a little bit of how do you say it? A separator. If you're not interested in training and you just want me to give you a job, it already shows something.
I think that we didn't try to for any time was getting a personal trainer from a global gym into CrossFit, into becoming a CrossFit trainer. This is something that we didn't try so far, but I think this would be the path, like you just said. Invite him, be a part of the gym at least for a month, become a member, and then see the place from inside out, and then see if you still want to be a part of it, because you might not know that you don't like it. It's different from what you do in the global gym.
Because it's important that you're believing in the CrossFit method for you to actually convincingly and passionately coach other people into it. If you don't believe in the way CrossFit does things, I don't recommend you to be a coach. So you should try it out as an athlete first. If you think this is a fun way to train and you want to be a coach in it, yeah, why not? We're not against it. People coming from other fitness domains but you do need to believe in it.
Exactly. Trust the process, trust the methodology. If not, it's going to be very weird talking the language, but not exercising it,
You don't know how it feels.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm gonna start talking to you about cycling, but I never cycle. But I'm explaining you day to day how to do stuff, but I never felt it myself. You're gonna need to feel it for yourself to be able to be a convincing coach.
Okay, so let's go back in time a bit again and remember how it used to be. So in 2016, if I would step in, I would just find one of you guys, Sergio or Bart, inside all the classes and then the rest of the people. We made our first hirings and first coaches in 2017. Lore, Jay and Claudia started entering coaching without too much base of and structured way of becoming a coach. And then 2018, Raresh enters coaching. And like this, we were like really passionate. And I remember we were like a small crowd and we were almost all the time together, like a lot of time.
Yep.
And then early 2019, Dan Darolzi entered our team. And then later that year was Vlad and Anna.
Yep.
I think this is the moment where we first started making a base of our hiring process.
Yeah.
I remember it was the first time I was like making the fiche apostolului a bit more in depth, the traits a coach should have, and then the rest of the structure. But it was pretty early, and we still had a long way to go.
It was the basic version of what we're doing now.
Yeah, and then 2019 was our best year, business wise.
Yep.
The economy was booming, and we were with the team at the largest form. We were like 6-7, and then was the time when we started thinking about the opening another location, and we start planning that out. We start building it, and then in 2020 we opened the second location, and we already had people trained to become a coach. So we opened the second location with Julian and Tudor and Edward in the second location.
Yep.
And then if you remember, Raresh, Vlad, Dan, Lore were making like a rotation.
Or a bit
and
on
coming-
both locations.
yeah. The thing that I was afraid of is losing the culture, losing the same feeling like you have in the Berărie location, the first location. We wanted to replicate that as best as possible, so we tried stuff. But that was really tiring, like rotating the stuff and making
Or the
them...
coaches was tiring, yeah.
Because majority of them live in Mănăștur, bringing them all the way in the other part of the city, it takes a lot of your time, of your traveling time.
Yep.
And then 2020 comes with all those surprises of pandemic and all that crazy stuff. Good thing that we passed it. In 2021 we bring in Florin, Alex Munteanu, and later that year Loli and Bogdan Kirka. 2022 we bring Bianca, Denisa, Vero, and Maximeni. And then Ramo, Andrea, and later Sergio Olteanu. So 2022 was a pretty full year of hirings. And imagine that at this point we had a really thorough process that we're going to just talk about it in a few minutes. So we had a base, we knew what we needed, what the team members should pass through to become a coach, like a thorough process. And then 2023 brings Andrei Ormenișan, Mihai Hrășan, and our youngest team members, Erjo and Alex Gălă. And our latest addition to the team is Maxim Ofalvent. He just came earlier this year, and the team now is formed of Lore, Raresh, Vlad, Florin, Loli, Deni, Ramo, Max, Sergio Olteanu, Alex, Erjo, Mihai, and Maxim. So they are pretty many.
It's big, yeah. Seeing that we started with 2 in one location, yeah. How many are they? 14 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You need the big stuff. And for people who don't know, we meet monthly, we do our team meetings, and in our team meetings we are trying to align ourselves to talk about issues that we encountered and how we solve them, and we're trying to keep as professional as we can.
Yeah, for those that don't know, some of these 14 are full-timers, a majority are part-timers.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Part-timers are a big part of us because there are people that are still having jobs and they still have a really big passion for helping others, coaching people. So, yeah, a big thank you to all our staff team, all our coaches. They really do a good job and people have just good things to say about them. So, applause to them. So, let's talk about a bit of the hiring process. Without us looking deep into it, how does it look? If I want to become a coach, what would be the steps?
In big lines, they would be hooked up with a more experienced coach. Usually me, you, Lore, Raresh.
Like a mentor?
Like a mentor, yeah. So they will be the second person, the assistant coach in their class. So the goal through a period of 6 weeks usually is to reverse roles. So in the beginning, it's my class and you're assisting me. In the beginning, I will give you small pieces, meaning you will do the warm-up, I will do the rest of class, all the talking, all the coaching, and slowly you will start taking more and more of the class. The first goal is for the person to get comfortable speaking in front of a group, and some people are faster comfortable than others, so some people get faster to the step where I give them more, like you doing the warm-up now, afterwards you will explain the weightlifting, or you do the warm-up today and you will explain the Metcon. They write lesson plans where they prepare themselves in the things, the key points they're going to give in that class, the things they need to pay attention to. The first period is about getting comfortable in group management and passing over to a minimum the stimulus of the day, so people know what's the goal of today's workout. And then over time we start focusing more on the coaching part of it, where we will start looking at movement together and where we're going to identify faults and then going to think a little bit, why are they making that faults, what would you tell them to make the movement better. And we go deeper and deeper into the coaching aspect of it all. But in the beginning, what we want from our coaches is that they manage to lead a group, keep them safe, and let them have fun. The more detailed part of coaching, like in any other job, it's a process that's not going to be happening in 6 weeks. So it's a process that happens in months. So anybody that started their first job or started something completely new knows that how you are in month one and how you are after a year is completely different. Every job has a process that they need to go through, and we also don't expect somebody after 6 weeks to be at the same level as somebody that did group classes for many years, because even we've had people that had experience in coaching people one-on-one stepping into a group class and still be a bit overwhelmed because it's different. There's a lot of things that happen in a group class, a lot of things that we need to keep in mind when we're managing 14 people, because we don't want to just manage them, like bring them like sheep from point A to point B. The goal is coaching. So we want to give information, we want to give everybody a bit of attention, we want to overall make people move better, we want to be giving cues left and right. So there's a lot of things happening in the hour that maybe from the outside is not so visible. I think you've also heard, especially the part-timers, say that after a couple of weeks of the onboarding that they are a bit overwhelmed and that they thought it looked easier from the outside.
Yeah, and this is a part where we triage people. We ask a lot from them because it's a moment that they can realize, ooh, this is not just me coming at the gym and reading the board. This is me trying to learn a lot of stuff behind it so I can teach it to other people. So it's a point that we can part people. It's like,
and we did, we've had people in the onboarding that said, it's not improving, it's not for me, it's a bit too overwhelming.
It's too much.
It's too much, yeah, to do it the way you want it to be done. Because anybody can read the board, but there is a lot of things happening behind there. You need to have the knowledge to know to know the moves, to know the key points of the moves, to recognize bad movement, to know what cues to give to fix that movement, to manage people so they have the info needed to know what to do next, to get them in time from section A to section B to the Metcon, because we can go slow motion and then we're going to train an hour and a half, but we're in times that nobody has time. So everything needs to be efficient, and CrossFit is about short, intense workouts, so it needs to go efficient. So you need to lead your group a little bit. So these are things that for some people come more natural than for others, we have noticed.
Mm-hmm. So it's 4 to 6 weeks or 6 weeks?
4 to 6 weeks, yeah. Usually more to the 6 weeks. We have exceptions that go a little bit faster because they're more natural into it. They're very comfortable. I've had people that after the first session I could directly see that they're very comfortable talking to a group. Sergio Oltiano was, for example, but he's in sales, emo, so it wasn't a surprise to me that he would be good talking to a group. So some people would pass that first stage a bit faster. Most people have a little bit of a time where I can see they're still uncomfortable explaining the warm-up. So if you're very comfortable, that first part goes faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. If you're a people person, your road is a bit more smoother. If you're comfortable talking to people, small to average groups, it's already good for you.
And we know how it was the first time we used to do it in Babish, how hard it is to talk to a group. It's not that easy.
Yeah, public speaking is not easy, and it's like a mini public speaking at first.
Yeah.
Because you don't know all the people.
Yeah, that's normal. You get used to it. But the more often you do it, the more used to you get it. That's why we also don't. I don't rush people in those first 2 weeks. If I see they're uncomfortable, I give them mini tasks to make them comfortable slowly to speak to that group, and usually it works out.
And what happens after the hiring process, after they started training for like 6 months? How do you still keep an eye on, or how do you still try to improve your coaches?
So after the 6 weeks, we just start shadowing them in class. Usually after the 6 weeks is done, they just had me on their ass for 6 weeks. I leave them a little bit of space, maybe for a week or two, and then I start shadowing them once a week or once every 2 weeks, where I'm in a class and then I'm giving them feedback. Or in the beginning, maybe not so much feedback directly, but we're working on coaching better. Like with coaching better, I mean keeping things simple. We don't, if somebody, for example, squats bad, we don't need them to give them an entire explanation with a 5-minute explanation to get to the point. No, we want something fast and to the point, like more weight in the heels, push your knees out, hip back and down. So we are working with short cues. That's what coaching is about. If I'm going to give you an entire explanation, then I'm more on the teaching side, where I give you all the backgrounds of why, and your ankle, because your ankle is a little bit stiff, that's why you can't go with your knees forward, and that's why you cannot squat that deep, and we're going to do this and that. On the moment I want to be coaching you, because I have 14 people, it needs to be efficient, it needs to be fast, I need to directly, within 10 seconds, see what the problem is, give you a solution to it without trying to talk to you like you need all this background information because you're going to be a coach. No, you need to just move better. Elbows up, hips back, weight in the middle of the foot. So we're practicing things like that, because in the beginning, when people are new to coaching, they talk a lot, and I want them to talk less, and I want them to be efficient and give only the information needed. And of course, in between, you can give some extra information, but when we're in a Metcon and stuff like that, we need to be fast and just make sure that everybody's safe, and we need fast cues to solve problems of movement on the spot. And that, of course, also comes with a lot of self-study. So I put them a bit under pressure. So we have squat today. What are the key points of performance on the squat? Where do the feet need to be? Where are the knees tracking? What body part moves first? What are the mistakes that you expect to happen in this class?
Most common faults.
Yeah, what are the most common faults, and what are your solutions to them? So they need to come in with an entire plan, and it's the more you do it, of course, you gather this information and it's in your head, but in the beginning it's like studying. If today, what are the moves? It's a push jerk. How do I teach the push jerk? Why do I teach the push jerk like that? Okay, we're gonna jump and land. We're gonna land with the hip back. We're gonna then take the bar after. If I dip and drive, I want the upper body to be straight. So it's things that need to come fast. If you need to think about this and I need to solve problems in 10 seconds, this needs to be information that's in your head for all the moves. You have key points of performance. It's like you have a library in your head. You need to know how a move looks like good to recognize that what I'm looking at is not what I have in my head. So what's different? What's different in my head than what I'm seeing? And it needs to go fast. And I need to come with solutions fast. And for same problem, maybe I need to have different cues, because what resonates with you maybe doesn't resonate with me. I can give a cue to somebody and nothing changes. I need to come up with a different cue for the same problem. I think we've all had the case where a client comes to us, maybe on double unders, and says, coach X or Y told me that, and it finally clicked. And we're looking at them and we're thinking, but I've been telling you that like every time you were in my class in different words, but that's what I meant. So the idea of this example is that I can say the same thing in two different ways. I just need to find the way that clicks for you. So what's a good cue is the one that makes a difference in the movement. And maybe that coach find the right words to say the same thing and it clicked for you, and that's why you move better now. So we need to have a lot of different type of solutions for the same problem in our bag as a coach, and that takes time. We steal from each other, we steal from online, we steal from courses.
So basically you are making a team of trying to help the future coach see better and then react faster and then be relentless and not giving up fast, because we all know how it is to give a cue, the second cue, the third cue, and not anything happen. So instead of just turning around and say, oh, you just practice a bit more, you need to, if you go away, you need to come back and retry it.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you know them, and then you see their habit, and then in 3 months and in 6 months, you know that X coach is talking too much, the other coach is touching too much,
Yeah.
and the third one is just cheering. So you're trying to give them then after some challenges. Okay, so today I don't want you to touch people. Let's see how we can fix them just by talking.
Just
and
by
vice
using
versa.
words. You're not gonna push their elbows up with your hand. You're not gonna pull their knees out with your hand. You're not gonna slap them on the back because they have a rounded deadlift.
We all have a bias. We all
Yeah.
have a bias. I like to touch people sometimes, and sometimes I realize that, and then say, okay, touch them in a good way, like point the thing that I want to see moving. But sometimes I'm just trying to use my words, and sometimes I just demonstrate. The first thing I think I do is the demonstration part, and then I do the rest. But it happens that you try the demonstration, you try the talking, and then you try the pushing and touching, and it still doesn't work. And then you just need to go back a bit, see the bigger picture, and then reassess. But the worst thing you can do is just panic. So you shouldn't panic. You should just, okay, you see what it is now. Okay, the first point is keep them safe. So whatever is looking very shady, drop the weights or do a movement that is not require so much of the posture.
Yeah, so these are all things that we need to learn, coaches. We need to expose them to as many situations and problem cases as they can, because it takes time to figure out how to make somebody move better. But it also, in first case, it takes knowledge. You need to have the knowledge, and then you just need application and you need practice, like practical practice, because it's not that easy. I think we've all been there. Also, you guys as a client sitting from the outside and seeing somebody move and thinking, he's doing this and this technique wise, and I would solve it like this and like this. One thing you need to remember is that you do not know what the coach at that moment is working on. So when we work on faults, we triage faults. We work on a certain thing. Of course, the big problems first, and then the small problems. So we triage it like that. First, we need to keep them safe. So we're gonna handle the big problems first. But we're gonna pick something for that person to work on. You do not know what I'm working on to improve in a certain move at that point, sitting on the side. Maybe I pick something else, maybe another coach will try to fix something else, but it's important that we fix one problem at a time, not give the client 5 things at a time, because you bet you've in the beginning period in the gym, you've been there when the coach said 3 things at the same time, and push your knees out and wait in the middle and arch your back and look forward. One thing at a time. So we pick something so it's not overwhelming for the client. So there is a reason why coaching happens like that. So big problems first and small problems. And of course, our goal is to make the full move perfect by the end, but in steps.
This happens when we are a shadow coach. So when we shadow another person, this is something that we encounter. We don't know what he's trying to do. So the thing is, we're looking at the coach the person, and then nothing changes. So I remember I go ask the coach in a mini fraction of a second, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Explain me.
What they're trying
And
to
then,
fix.
yeah, he tells me the hip. Okay. Then I know I have a background, and then
You know
I
what
can
to look
come
for
to
yourself.
him.
Yeah.
And then I can come to him and say, let's try that also. And see if it works. Because if nothing changes, that means that we need to reassess.
Yeah.
So this is something that you can see from the side as a client, that a coach is doing something but nothing is moving, but you don't know what he's trying because you didn't ask. So you just assume he just needs to push the knees more outside. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
It's not that the focus maybe.
I challenge you all to take somebody from your family or your friends, give them a broomstick and make them do a good deadlift.
Exactly.
And see how easy or how hard it is to make them, to keep them in the positions and make them stand.
Okay, cool. That's the hiring process. That's really, really nice, and I'm happy we have it. The last thing we're going to talk about today is the 6 traits of an effective coach. What makes a good coach effective?
Yeah, this is something that gets covered in the CrossFit level 2, and also something that we talk about with our coaches, because it's things to pay attention to make yourself better. So we have teaching, seeing, correcting, group management, presence and attitude, and demonstration. So we'll go through them shortly. Teaching basically is your knowledge, knowing the moves, knowing the key points of performance. That's basically you need to have that base package of knowledge to be able to teach somebody. If I do not know the key points of performance for a move, it's very hard for me to teach you how it's supposed to look. So that's where it all starts, theoretical. Then we have the seeing, knowing the difference between good and bad movement. So you have that in your head, imaginary deadlift moving. You're going through the key points of performance and you're looking to your client and you're thinking, what's different? What body part is not in the place where it's supposed to be? And then I'm going to give that person a cue, usually keeping it simple. You're thinking about body part, you put it backward, forward, left, right, till I have it in the position I want it to be. Of course, we have their difference in detail about static mistakes and mistakes, how do you call it?
Dynamic.
Dynamic mistakes. So static when you're in the bottom of your deadlift, for example, and dynamic the part where you're moving. So obviously the static ones are the easy ones to correct. The dynamic ones are already a bit harder. So you need an in-depth knowledge, so the teaching part, to be able to see on the fast movements what is going wrong. So you need to have an in-depth knowledge of the theory to be able to have a chance of seeing. So we're teaching them and our coaches to pick what are you looking for. If it's a clean and you want to see if they do full hip extension, only look at the hip. Don't start looking at everything or you're not going to see anything. So this is part of the process. Then we have the correcting, like I already talked about. Our goal is to make people move better, so we recognized in the seeing bad movement now, how I'm going to correct it, what body part is out of place, what I'm going to tell the person to get it into place, short actionable cues, not an entire 5-minute explanation for something that can be very fast, shoulder more forward, for example, chin up, arch your back, so short. With these short sentences, I'm going to try to make instant improvement in movement. And I'm going to acknowledge if it was good or the same, or if it was worse. So I'm always going to try to give a bit of a feedback so the person also knows, like, I arched my back. It felt like this. He said, good. So now I can connect his words with my body into space, with the feeling like this is supposed to feel like that. So he can recollect every time he goes in the start position, this is how it's supposed to feel like. Because when I did that, he said, good. So that's the feeling I have. We had on other occasions that conversation with some people, they need a mirror to be able to know if their back is arched. No, we need to learn how to feel certain positions. We need to learn how to feel the hang position on a clean or a snatch. What's that feeling in my hamstrings and when my chins are approximately straight? So we need to feel it, and it helps the coaching giving you feedback on that. So after correcting, what did we have then?
Group management.
Group management. So like we already talked about in the before when we were talking about our onboarding, this is something that takes a bit of organization. So you're making a class plan, you're thinking in advance what material I'm gonna need. If I'm gonna need rowers, I put them already down, things that can be done in advance. We do them, we hang the rings in place, because the less time you guys are running around searching and preparing stuff, the more you can be training. We want you to be moving as much as possible and not running around or listening to us too much, because that's also, as a side note, something that the beginner coach will have. They talk a lot also in front of the board, so we need to be efficient and not you guys are not here just to listen to us talk, so we want to train as much as possible. And yes, stick to the schedule. That's also part of the group management. We're aiming to stay and be done in that hour. We can always go over the hour if we would want to, but we're on a schedule without wanting to rush. We want everything to flow smoothly, and a good class plan will do that. What we, for example, do, and why sometimes you see the morning class a bit different than the next class, might be because I wrote in the coaches' notes, so the plan I give to the coaches, a certain structure. And after we tried it in the morning, it was longer than I thought it was going to be, or the Metcon went longer than I thought it's going to be. So then we start adjusting things, maybe in the warm-up or a set less on the weightlifting, or certain parts get cut out completely because it doesn't fit in that hour without rushing you, because we don't want to rush you from point A to point B to point C, because then there will be no time left for coaching. And that's basically what you're here for, to move well, but to move well you need to be coached. So if we're going to rush you, just let's do 3 sets of this, let's still do a Metcon of 20 minutes, let's still do a finisher after, let's then still stretch, it's going to be a bit cramped, and we want things to smoothly flow without feeling rushed. Part of the class management is also to assess a little bit what's the experience level in your class. If I have on a snatch day a class with all guys, because I know my people, with all guys that have been here for 2 years plus, in comparison to another day where I have people that are in their first month, it might look a bit different. So I look in advance a little bit what the class level is. Maybe I will adjust my structure of the class slightly, or go faster through certain things and spend more time on other things. That's where I'm gonna decide a bit how I'm gonna teach the move of today, how I'm gonna do the toes to bar drills today, how I'm gonna do the snatch drills today. Am I gonna spend a lot of time on sumo deadlift high pose today, yes or no? Is it gonna be necessary? So it's a bit it changes a bit depending on who is in my class, and that's a bit part of the class management part. Presence and attitude is another trait of an efficient and effective trainer. We want trainers to show empathy and create relationships with people. So we want our trainers to know their people, their strengths, their weaknesses, that they have a dog named Max, that they have 2 kids, that maybe so they get comfortable enough to approach us when they had a 4-hour night sleep, to say I'm a bit low on energy but I still came to train. So we know about that, so we can coach you better. But for people to take that step, we need to build a bit of relationships, and they need to feel that in the main important thing what we're doing here is make sure that you have fun and keep you safe. That's why we coach you. But to coach you more efficient, I need a lot of communication. The more communication, the better. You're not feeling good, fine. You're just here to move a little bit. I'm not going to be pushing you, or I'm not going to be advising you like, I think you can do 20 instead of 15. I'm going to know as a coach that today is a day I'm going to let you do your thing a little bit. And I know the background story. So it's a bit of building trust between athlete and coach.
What I would add to this is the presence and attitude brings me the energy of a class. You are there to make people infected with your energy and make them train and make them pursue their objectives. Not come there and feel that they are not worthy, they cannot do the things you do, or make them feel tiny. So
no, we
you
want
need
to
to
empower
them.
people.
Yeah.
We want to empower people. So I want to give you small steps. If you're afraid of box jumps, I want to get you to jump on a 20 kilogram disc, then 2, then 3, then on the lowest box. So I want to empower you and give you the confidence that you can. So we want to be talking in positive language and always with feeling a little bit the client to see what can I do to give them the confidence that they can without exaggerating, of course, not trying to push you over your limits, but I'm trying to give you the confidence that you're going to be safe, for example, to kick up to the wall. I'm here, or your partner's here. I'm going to teach your partner how to spot you safely. You can do this. The person next to you can, left and right, you can also do this. And you can be comfortable enough to tell us that you're afraid to do certain stuff, and then I'm gonna find ways to scale it down to a point that step by step you're gonna get there. But yeah, we part of the present attitude is showing passion. Every coach will show it in a different way. Some people are extroverts, some people are introverts, some people are more cheerleaders than others. But I think all of our coaches in their own way, they show passion for the thing we're doing here, trying to make you move better and have some fun here.
And the last one, demonstration.
Demonstration, yeah. So demonstration, the easy part is that I know how to demo a move. It doesn't mean that every coach can demo you a ring muscle up. But if they do their teaching and they're seeing and correcting, if they have that down, they can still get you to a ring muscle up. So don't think that coaches are perfect. Coaches, you've felt already that CrossFit is a never-ending story in learning, and we're all learning. We all have our weaknesses. Every coach has their weaknesses. Some things we can do, some things we cannot do. Sometimes we shall be able to demo. Sometimes we shall use somebody in our class that knows how to do it better, show it better than us as a demo person. But more importantly, I want is that our coaches know how good movement looks like and how to get you to that move. A coach can be a good athlete, and an athlete can be a good coach, but an athlete can also be a bad coach, and a coach can also be a bad athlete. The more important thing is that they know their shit. They know how to make you better. They're not competing with you. I wish you all to do bar muscle ups better than me. I just need to know to give you the cues to get there. So demoing to a point, but another part of demonstration is walk the walk and talk the talk. So we're here as coaches to lead by example. So we keep to the standards in class. We push on when things get hard at the end of a 20-minute AMRAP. We're here to inspire and to lead by example. That's what I think it's also important from a coaching point of view. No matter if you're first on the leaderboard or in middle of the pack, it doesn't matter. It's about the intent of which you're leading by example. You don't need to be the best athlete to be a good coach, but you can lead by example without being first on the leaderboard, by having high standards to yourself, by not cutting reps, by moving well over putting maximum weight on the bar and doing a half a squat. So all these things, they matter.
That's great. So these are the 6 traits for an effective coach: teaching, seeing, correcting, group management, presence and attitude, then demonstration. A never-ending journey. Good. That's it for today. Thank you for sharing this with us. A word for our community is, in order to see the differences between us and somebody else, just drop in any other affiliate when you go travel somewhere. Go and see how other boxes are teaching and are organizing their classes, so you have a feel. And for anybody that doesn't know us, just go ahead to our site, smartmovecrossfit.pro, and book a call with us and come for a training, come for a glimpse to see that what we are talking is what happens inside. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, please write us an email at info@smartmovecrossfit.pro or shoot us a message on Instagram at smartmovecrossfit. If you want to find out more about the two of us, you can find our details into the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.